Hey, what's up everyone? Morey Croson here, and today we're going to be going over how to correct your start mechanics. As many of you guys know, within our speed program, we actually give you video breakdowns to give you a better understanding how to correct your mechanics. And today I thought it'd be a good idea to be able to show you exactly what we see a lot of times with start mechanics. It really increases the amount of time that you spend during the start, and that therefore decreasing your actual performance within your top end speed. So as always, if you like the information, go ahead and click the thumbs up down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you have any questions or comments or anything like that, go ahead and leave those down below. We'll hop in the video right now. Okay, so here on the right we have a athlete that is doing something that I really see very commonly within the start, and really first of all, when you're getting in the start, this is me on the left, and not to say that I have the most amazing start in the world, but just want to give you guys a good understanding of some of the differences here. So you do only want to be in a 3-point stance. 3-point stance means that there's 3 points of contact. So for me, it's that right arm, left leg, right leg. You don't want to be in a 4-point stance when you're going through. This is obviously for your 40, but even if you're if you're actually going in track, then you do want to do a 4-point stance. So if you have a block, you want to be in a 4-point stance, but if you're going without a block, you want to be in a 3-point stance. So one of the big things that I think is important is you want to get the hips high when you're starting, right? You don't want to end up being too bent in those knees. You want to be, somewhat bent, but you don't want to be overly bent and make it so your hips are kind of facing more downwards or even straight back. You want to try to get your hips facing as much upwards as you possibly can. And then when you're going, and this is the most common thing that I see, is notice where the right foot lands here. And then the left foot, and really the first 2 steps aren't too bad there. You can see definitely turns that foot in a good amount, that back foot right there. But notice this foot right here, and this is the big thing, is really crossing over, right? So notice where he's landing here on the left side, boom, and then where he lands on the right side, basically right in the same place, right? And so what that ends up being like is, and this is the cue that I always use, is that you want to be running on a train track. Like when you're first starting, you want to be running like you're on a train track, not like a tightrope, right? So right now he's running like he's on a tightrope here because he's basically landing in all the same positions. So now he's wasting time going side to side when you want to be really optimizing how much you can get going straight ahead, right? So you can see here with my start how I'm going, and I land here, and then the next step lands here, right? Next step lands here. So I'm a little bit crooked where I'm actually at, but the big thing is you don't want to be crossing those legs over. Okay, and one of the reasons that ends up happening, if we go back here, notice how when he's driving through, how his legs, he has his legs kind of out, right? The knees are facing out right before foot contact. And then at foot contact, you can see how his legs kind of rotate inwards, right? And you can see the same thing here. Everything is facing pretty straight ahead here right before ground contact. And then when it comes to actual ground contact, see how everything rotates in? That's what you want to avoid. That's what causes you to cross those legs over. So instead, what you want to be doing is you want to drive those knees up and in when you're starting, and then as you're touching the ground, notice how my feet are going outside as my feet are touching the ground, right? Driving that leg inwards. And then when your foot touches the ground, it wants to be going outwards to the best of your ability. And this is really the most important thing in being able to maximize the efficiency within your start. So one of the big problems that I see with the start is people crossing those legs over, right? And then just not landing with good mechanics. When you're landing, you want to be able to keep your heel up as high as you possibly can and maintain that, right? So notice how I'm landing here with that heel in that position. With the best doer, they're able to keep their heels really high. So see how my heel drops a good amount right there? That's definitely something that you don't want to do. You want to be able to keep that heel really high to be able to maximize how fast you're able to push off the ground. And then the last thing that I would say is just maintaining good posture, right? So notice where, let's see how many steps in I am here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's within 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and so notice the difference in where we're at, right? So this is at the ground contact time, and you can see how I'm able to drive my hips more through. You can see more of my head position, and so I'm in overall a better posture within my spine. And I think that's going to be an important thing to be able to maximize as well. Is you don't want to just force yourself to look down. This is 5 steps in, right? So at 5 steps, I'm at least looking, 4 to 5 yards in front of me, if not even more, where he's still looking straight down, right? And that's just going to make it so it's harder for you to be able to get a good foot contact time when you're looking down, and it'll also impact how much distance that you're picking up per step. Both important things when it comes to speed. When it comes to speed, what is the most important is, how fast are you taking each one of your steps, right? And how much distance are you picking up in each one of the steps. So if you're maximizing or increasing the amount of time that you're spent on the ground and decreasing the amount of distance you're picking up per step, which is what he's doing, then you're actually making yourself slower. So you want to be able to maximize how much distance you're getting per step, and you also want to maximize how fast you're turning your feet over. And again, by keeping yourself in a bad position from a posture perspective, it really makes a negative impact on your ability to reach that top speed. So yeah, guys, as always, thanks for watching these videos. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, you can leave those down below. I always recommend you checking out our speed program or getting a speed breakdown. Both of those things will be super valuable, because we'll be able to show you not only the back view, the side view, the front view, and really be able to identify what are the key parts of your running mechanics that are really making the biggest difference in your time and maximizing your time. And as we all know, running the 40 or the 60 for football and baseball players is super important for you guys to get recruited, or if you're trying to run the 100-meter and want to find a couple little key critiques that can shave off a couple hundredths of a second or tenths of a second, that'll make a huge difference, right? Going from a 10.6 to a 10.4 or 10.4 to a 10.2, all at the end of the day comes down to a couple small things that really make a big difference in that. So go ahead and check the links down below in order to find out a little bit more about that. We've been showing you some videos here of some breakdowns during this, and so if you have any questions, again, would be happy to talk to you. You can check out my email, check out some of the pages. As always, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.